This video we'll be talking about development communication. In this video we'll be dealing with development communication as a part of the IGNOS Masters Program Journalism and Mass Communication. Development communication comes under the course Media and Society in Block 2. So what is this video all about? This video deals with the definition of development communication, media and development communication, and the people's participation and development communication. So, what is development? When we talk about development, we measure them in terms of economic indicators like the GDP or the GNP. However, social indicators like the Human Development Index, Physical Quality of the Life Index, and the Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index are much better measures of a country's development and the well-being of its people. So you can say that the concept of development is a multi-dimensional process leading to the improvement in both the economic and social conditions of a country. Current notion of development also emphasizes on the enhancement of people's freedom, capabilities, and the entitlements for a better life. Therefore, apart from the basic problems of underdevelopment, which are poverty, health, hunger, food security, illiteracy, unemployment, etc., issues of social exclusion, inequality growth, and the social injustice has become the focus for the development agenda, and they in turn they want to make it into a social inclusion, equality of growth in all terms, and social justice. So development communication is a process of intertwining in a systematic or strategic manner with either media, any type of media, or education for the purpose of positive social change. And this change could be economic, personal, social, cultural, or political. And development communication tackles development issues in ways that can help the poor people lead a life of dignity and equal opportunities. And development communication, which is known as DevCom, promotes core values of a socially just society that encourages basic human rights, equitable distribution of resources, equal opportunities, peace and security, and the realization of human potential. Another major important point when we talk about development is the sustainable economic growth and the human development. And this cohesion happens when there is equal participation of all the genders and the marginalized sections of the society into the mainstream. Development communication also plays a key role in reinforcing the sustainable development goals set out by the UN and its principles of environmental sustainability. Development communication therefore supports the building of a strong, vibrant institution, facilitating freedom of expression in which all groups are able to voice opinions and participate in development debates. The best example for such an institution is the mass media. Let's look into the definition of development communication, or DevCom. According to Nora Cabral, development communication is the art and science of human communication applied to the speedy transformation of a country and the mass of its people from poverty to a dynamic state of economic growth that makes possible greater social equality and the larger fulfillment of the human potential. And Everett Roger, he has given another definition of development. He says that development communication refers to the uses to which communication is put in order to further development. Such applications are intended to either further development in a greater way or a general way, such as by increasing the level of mass media exposure among the nation's citizens in order to create a favorable climate for development, or to support a specific development program or project. And this type of development communication is often termed as development support communication. And in 1997, okay, we have another definition of development communication as put out by the General Assembly resolution of the United Nations as the Article 6. Okay, and this definition is as follows: communication for development stresses the need to support two-way communication systems that enable dialogue and that allow communities to speak out, express their aspirations and concerns, and participate in the decisions that relate to their development. Further, we have the Rome Consensus of the First World Congress of the Communication for Development, otherwise known as WCCD, and they held their first consensus in Rome in October 2006, and they defined development as a social process based on a dialogue using a broad range of tools and methods. It is also about seeking change at different levels, including listening, building trust, sharing knowledge and skills, building policies, debating, and learning for sustained and meaningful change. It is not public relation or corporate communication, rather, it is a holistic development. And now let's go into the features of development communication. Development communication is very vital for human growth and process, because without communication humans cannot survive and evolve, and therefore development communication is a very vital for a society's survival as well. It is an essential part of programs and initiatives aimed at achieving development goals, and the people's participation is very crucial in a development communication. It is a dialogic process, and dialogue is very central. It is a give and take process. It is not a one-way street, rather a two-way dialogue has to happen in a development communication. The next feature of development communication is that it helps create a constructive environment for us to survey, to understand the problems that we are facing and trying to find a solution to that particular problem. And the development communication utilizes not just one method and media of communication, but rather multiple methods of media and communication to disseminate the idea that is brought forth through such interaction and dialogue at the participatory level. Therefore, we can say that the role of development communication is twofold. One is a transformation role, and the other one is a socializing role. It is a transformation role because it seeks pro social change in the direction of improving the quality of the life of the people. For example, through development communication, we can promote vaccination of children and make sure that women give birth to their babies in the hospitals, encourage enrollment of girls in schools and higher education institutions, adoption of sanitation at every home, breaking myths surrounding tabooed topics like menstruation, or stopping or breaking the social customs like early marriages, are some initiatives for improving the lives of people, with communication being an integral component for achieving these objectives. as a socializing role. By seeking to maintain some of the established values of society, development communication seeks to create an atmosphere for change as well as providing innovation thought which society may change. Each society has some traditional value that give people an identity, a sense of belonging, and within which their aspirations are intricately embedded. As people of different cultures meet, the values, customs, and beliefs of societies make inroads in each other's society, slowly influencing and changing these societies. Communication can play a very vital role by making people aware of differing values or different values and beliefs, critically examine new ideas, as well as reanalyze the relevance and the richness of their own values, customs, beliefs, and above all, aspirations in changing contexts. And when we talk about development communication, one there are three factors that play. One is definitely the media. The next one is the people, the participation. Okay, so media, we have the mass media, the traditional media, the alternative media, the new technologies that is there. All these things play a very important role in development communication. That is what we'll be dealing next in the slide or in this video. So when you talk about media, okay, we know that media's major role, or the one of the crucial role of the media, is to convey information. And you can see that earlier, that is earlier means maybe around in the 70s, where the development idea of development was as a beginning, developing the nation, to develop a nation, that at that time the media was expected to disseminate information regarding a development program that has been taken up by the government, and the benefits this particular program that will be given to the community. That is just information, just saying the information is like one way street from the sender to the receiver. And the media was expected to build a favorable climate to implement such programs by removing any kind of doubts, apprehensions, or fear about these such programs. And development communication was characterized by the use of mass media that considered people as a passive audience, ready to be influenced by the message they received, and was a simple one way asymmetrical communication. There was no two-way communication. It was a very direct communication, a top-down communication, and it was it, sh- it the, this particular communication, so that the media was all powerful and the receivers were passive receivers that blindly believed anything that was being said through the media or disseminated to the media. However, later the focus of development communication moved from a communicator to a more receiver centric. That is what I said, from a center to the receiver. Rather than giving more importance to the center, here there was a shift, there was a gradual shift that gave more importance to the receiver, and it advocated bottom up two-way symmetrical approaches. It recognizes and adopts various participatory methods for inculcation and active participation of the target audience. The emphasis of development communication process has shifted from persuasion to information exchange. And mass media, we know, has the ability to reach a large number of audience large number of audience, and a large this audience is a heterogeneous audience which is scattered over a very vast geographical area, especially in a country like India. They have a definite role in spreading information about development, making people aware of their rights and responsibilities, exposing the anomalies and the corrupt practices, and promoting transparency and accountability through encouraging participation in the form of development schemes. And communication intervention for development are made through various media platforms like the newspapers, magazines, radio, television, internet, movies, and as well as the theater. And there are great examples of such innovative practices that was used for purely for the sake of development, or for developing a particular locality or a particular sector of the society. And the best example that we can give is the site example, or the satellite instructional television experiment, which was 1975 to 76. And this was one of the earliest projects that was primarily undertaken to develop special development programs through the satellite communication. After the success of SITE, we have the Kedar Communication Project, and later on we have the Indian National Satellite Project, the INSAT, in 1982. And educational programs, ETV like Gyan Darshan, Educational Channel, etc., and eChopal and others have demonstrated the potential of using mass media for development. Alternate media is actually a separate form, is separate from, and it provides an alternative to the commercial media as well as state-run public service media. It is also called the community media, citizens media, and grassroots journalism, and it has created local alternatives to mainstream broadcasting like local community papers, radio stations, as well as traditional media such as the theatre and puppetry. It is different from the mainstream media in terms of their aesthetics, and it is independent and non-profit orientation. And they talk about all these topics that is not spoken about or spoken for in the mainstream media discourses, and it serves as a needs and interest of a community. It enables people's participation and their greater access and control of the media and communication in their community. And what happens is that it helps, or it aids in raising people's awareness, representation, and consequent emergence and democratization of an alternative public sphere where people can actually have a dialogue where they can voice their opinions and their ideas. So some of the most successful alternative media for development are the community radio, community video, and community newspaper. We have the traditional media, which is as important, or is as equally prominent as the alternative media. The traditional media is actually it's actually cultural forms such as people's theater, puppets, songs and dance, etc., and they are designed to engage people and communities in positive social change. It is sensitive to the needs of the context of the communities. Folk media is an integral part of the fabric of the rural communities. Social ideas, traditions, and cultures are preserved and disseminated through these highly intimate and flexible and dynamic traditional media forms. And the folk media, they enjoy immense popularity and appeal, and they have traditionally been used for entertainment, social communication, and persuasive communication. And these days we can see there are several initiatives that has involved folk media for conveying development messages. By presenting messages subtly in local popular artistic forms, they carry the message of development among the masses. Some examples include the use of popular regional theatre forms like the Jatra in Bengal, Tamasha in Maharashtra, and Burkada in Andhra Pradesh by the Indian People Theatre Association to increase social awareness and political education. Even in Kerala, we have this Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad, which organizes science jathas, science processions using different folk art forms to spread the message of people's involvement in the development process. Folk songs have played a very instrumental role in the Chipok and the Narmada movements, again proving their worth as a good media for disseminating information in terms of development. The new technologies, of course, we have the internet, ICT, mobile phones, and the satellites. They have radically transformed the concept and nature of development as well as communication. These technologies enable fast exchange of information and overcome time and space barriers and have immense potential for proving effective solutions of to various problems. E-governance initiatives seeks to provide essential services to citizens in ways that they are simple, speedy and inclusive. The use of new technologies also offer varied opportunities for the two-way communication to people to voice their ideas and to access relevant information. However, the digital divide is the gap that exists between the individual who have access to modern information and communication technology and those who lack access. People with higher levels of education and prosperity are able to make better use of the ICT and knowledge products than those who are less privileged. So this divide, the digital divide, works as a roadblock for the use of technologies for removal of poverty and inequality. The access to digital technology goes a long way in providing benefits to the users in terms of skill, knowledge, capability, and consequently incomes, increase the divide further. Hence, one of the biggest challenge of development communication is to work towards enabling the digital divide haves have nots to access ICTs and digital services. The people's participation and development communication. People's participation is central to development communication. It is recognized that inclusive development cannot be achieved without involvement of community in various stages of development projects. Participatory communication is a dynamic, interactional, and transformative process that enables people to articulate their ideas, recognize common concerns, and seek solutions from within their community. By generating an open environment, participatory processes enable the stakeholders to engage in a dialogic process, build trust and confidence among each other. Consequently, they lead to raising awareness about critical issues, improving access to information, increase utilization of services, mobilize people around a common issue, and encourage them to engage in their own and their community's development. All participatory communication activities ultimately endeavor to encourage certain changes in attitude or behavior at the individual, family, and or even at the community level. Participation is strongly related to the power dynamics in decision making. Letting the poor and the marginalized make strategic decisions about programs and policies influencing their lives involves devolution of power. The 73rd and the 74th amendments of the Indian Constitution provides a participatory framework by giving powers to panchayats and the urban local bodies and subsequently for people being in charge of development of their area. A significant aspect of these provision is planning by people through locally constituted district planning committees who consolidate and implement plans prepared by the village panchayats and the urban municipalities. The success or failure of these plans and thereby the future of the development depends significantly on the citizens' awareness level and their participation through effective communication strategies. And the task of creating awareness and promoting citizens' participation in policy formulation is one of the new challenges of development communication. The inculcation of ordinary people in policy forming has become all the more important when it comes to a nation's development process and steps. Let's wind up to this particular class or the session. To sum up, we can say the focus of development communication is more inclusive and participatory development to include the marginalized and vulnerable sections of the society. That only that will actually create a holistic development in a nation. And development communication utilizes multiple media, which includes mass media, community media, and ICTs for information dissemination, behavior change, social mobilization, advocacy for sustainable social change. And the last point that we dealt in this video is a key aspect of development communication is promoting people's participation and providing them greater voice through participatory communication. With that, we come to an end to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.